So the Jimmy Kimmel Show is set to return. Why? Because we hit them in their pocketbooks. Folks, I know that it's been a very depressing year, and I know that we felt down for a long time, and we felt outnumbered, and we felt like that our voices couldn't possibly be heard. But they can be, and they especially can be when you hit someone in their wallet. And I think we're going to have to take notes and remember this moving forward, because Disney lost a whole lot of money, and that's why that they're coming back. A good friend of mine said what happened was a bully stole our lunch money. Disney is not who got our lunch money back. We got our lunch money back because we went to bat for free speech. So the next time that people tries to say that both parties are the same, I want you to remind them of this. MAGA went to bat for a Cracker Barrel logo, and they put enough pressure on Cracker Barrel that Cracker Barrel shifted that logo back to the original. We went to bat for free speech. That's the difference, and always remember that. Rumor is that he's going to have Gavin Newsom on the show tonight, and I really hope that's the case. I hope Jimmy Kimmel does not apologize. I hope he does not bow the knee, and I hope they absolutely troll and roast Donald Trump. You know, just stop talking about Charlie Kirk. Don't say anything else about the guy. Just leave it where it was. Jimmy Kimmel didn't say anything wrong, and he's got nothing to apologize for. And all the people that are out there trying to frame this that he lied needs to go watch the clip. I can't play it for copyright reasons, but if you go watch what Jimmy Kimmel actually said, he said that MAGA had spent the weekend trying to prove that the shooter was anything other than one of their own. And they heard that and they ran with it and said, see, he said the shooter was one of us. No, he said that you spent every minute trying to prove that he wasn't one of yours, and that's what MAGA did, and that's what MAGA is still doing. I would also like to point out that before MAGA had one shred of evidence to go either way or the other, they were immediately saying they did it. They were immediately saying that the radical left did it before they even had any evidence at all. And then it was a trans person did it. And then it was, well, he was roommates with a trans, or he saw a trans person on TV, or he used a Snapchat filter once. I mean, they used every excuse under the sun to try to link this to anything other than one of their own. And at the end of the day, the kid was raised up in a MAGA family. The grandmother was real quick to rush in and say, hey, we're all MAGA. What are they talking about? So the kid was raised in that kind of family and in that kind of gun culture, and learned the ropes of firearms from a family that loves to pose with pictures of them on Facebook. So Jimmy Kimmel's got nothing to apologize for, and I really hope that he doesn't. Now, I have heard that Sinclair is saying they're not going to air it on certain affiliates unless he apologizes and donates to Turning Point USA. And what I really want to talk about here, folks, is that we have to understand the difference. There's cancel culture, there's cultural pushback, and then there's the government leaning on somebody. And a lot of times what happened when these comedians went out there and said this over-the-top racist shit, the culture pushed back on it. And when the culture pushed back on it, there were networks that said, you know what, we don't want nothing to do with you because now no one will buy our product because you're associated with it. And so those people paid the price for the things they said because culture pushed back. What happened to Jimmy Kimmel was not cultural pushback. It was the government leaning on ABC to let him go because he said something they didn't like. So it was a complete government overreach. And to everybody out there that wants to scream, don't tread on me, the government was treading on Jimmy Kimmel and his free speech. And you might not have liked it. You might not have liked what he had to say. It might have pissed you off. But here's the thing I would like to know. How many MAGA conservatives was watching Jimmy Kimmel to start with? How many of them actually shopped at a Target before they got mad at it? You know, and now the only reason they're saying they're going to go to Starbucks is on Charlie Kirk's birthday so they can have them write Charlie Kirk on the cup. That's the type of people that we're dealing with. But you got to remember that MAGA is willing to go to bat for the absolute worst of people and the absolute worst of ideas. And we have to stay focused on the fact that we're on the right side of history on this one and that we're going to go to bat for the good. If you go back and look at all the ridiculous culture wars that MAGA has got all up in their fields and fought over, if you look at every single one of those, 9 times out of 10, it's because a group of people, or a company, tried to include a group of people that they didn't like. You go back to Target when they had the Pride Month and they had the clothing for Pride Month. How many MAGAs was shopping at Target to start with? But they threw a fit over that because they didn't want to walk past a Pride rack in a department store. They didn't want someone to include someone that they disagreed with in. Same thing with the Bud Light. They were mad at transgender people and was willing to give up their beer and boycott an American company because that American company included someone else that they didn't like. They burned their Carhartts because of the vaccines, because they wanted to be able to spread as much misinformation as they possibly could. And so every time you look at the culture wars they fought, it's been because they wanted people excluded or because they wanted to be able to be wrong about something and get away with it. On the other hand, when we went to bat for people, it's for free speech and to include people in, because we believe in diversity. We believe it's a good thing. And we also believe in free speech. And I really think that we don't ever need to lose sight of the idea that we've always been more for free speech than they have. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not, I can't believe that we keep having to have this argument and keep having to drive this point home. That does not mean that there's not accountability for your speech. That does not mean that you may face pushback for what you say. That happens no matter who you are. There's going to be a group of people pushing back against what you say. But when you go out there and you label something as hate speech, and there's absolutely hate speech out there, and it's all over Twitter. If you just want to go look for yourself, just scroll Twitter. It's all over the place. But you know what? They have a right to be assholes and be over there. And I say, just let them talk. Just let them expose themselves for who they are, and then let's use that against them. Let's use their own words against them. But when you start labeling something hate speech, then it's just a matter of who gets in charge and who gets in control that can then turn it and say what you're saying is hate speech. So let everybody talk, and then let everybody face the consequences as they fall. Because if we start letting the government lean on people and shut them up, that is not the American way, and that goes completely against the First Amendment of the Constitution. So as we go forward, we need to realize that we've always been the party of free speech, but we've always been gaslit, and they've built a straw man argument to say that we were the party that was against free speech, and they said that because we wouldn't let racists get away with saying racist shit, and we wouldn't let dumbasses get away with spreading misinformation. We held people accountable for what they said, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? There's people that are going to push back on Jimmy Kimmel. There's people that's not going to like it. And if ABC was to lose enough money because people pushed back, and if they lost enough money to where they said, you know what, people are pushing back against this guy, but that's not what happened. It went the other way. It went the other way because we was willing to go to bat, and we were willing to hit them in their pocketbook. And that's where you have to hit them. You have to hit them right in their wallet, because that's the only thing these oligarchs care about. At the end of the day, all they care about is the money. You have to remember that. So I don't really give Disney any credit for this, because when they saw themselves losing money, that's when they caved. They caved originally to the FCC. They caved to Trump. And then when they saw it hitting their wallet, they said, wait a minute, we got to backtrack here. So I don't consider Disney the hero in this. You can go ahead and renew your subscription if you want to, but I don't consider them the hero in this story. We are, because we went to bat for free speech, and we have to continue to do so. And we have to realize during these dark times that even though we feel completely outnumbered, and we are in every branch of government, and we are right now with the Supreme Court, and I understand how easy it is to get down, but we can't stop talking just because they're barking loud. They're on the wrong side of history. And they're always going to be. And right now I hear a lot of people saying things like, well, they've turned Charlie Kirk into a martyr. He's going to be a legend now. He's going to have a legacy. I don't think so. I think as time goes on, people's going to realize that his words and his message didn't age well when the first racist asshole said it hundreds of years ago. It didn't age well then. And it's never going to age well. As society progresses and as the pendulum swings, and they have to stand up there and quote Charlie Kirk, and they have to stand up there on those beliefs. And if someone on the opposite side of the fence can come in at debate time and really know how to go to bat in a debate and stand there against J.D. Vance or Don Jr. or whoever the hell they pull up next, if they're willing to stand there and say, these were your words at a time when we were denouncing political violence, you all was putting the blame on someone before you had evidence. And you all was saying there would be no unity. And you all was encouraging Americans to dox their fellow Americans. And these were Charlie Kirk's words. You know, his words didn't age well when the first asshole said them, and they're never going to age well. So I think right now it's a hectic, chaotic time, and we're all feeling all sorts of emotions. But I think as time goes on, we will look back at this one day, and it'll be like, oh yeah, that's that one guy they threw a fit over once. That's that one guy they got all upset and had a hate rally at his funeral for. I really believe that as time goes on, that guy will just fade away. Because how many of us was talking about George Wallace? How many of us was really talking about George Wallace here? Was there George Wallace shirts out there? Was there George Wallace flags? The governor of Alabama that stood in the doorway and blocked the black kids from coming to school? The Charlie Kirk of his era? Were we giving a shit about him? Did his legacy live on? No, most people could agree that he was an asshole. So I don't understand really why, in a way, that, like, I'm surprised Charlie Kirk didn't have a tattoo of George Wallace myself, but that's besides the point. The point is, we have to continue to stand up for free speech and stand on the right side of history. Always remember, they're going to go to bat for outdated Cracker Barrel logos. They're going to go to bat when people tries to include other people in. And we're going to go to bat for the truth. We're going to go to bat for the Constitution, for freedom and democracy. And we're going to be on the right side of history. The pendulum will swing back. It will. And we'll be over there when it does. And when it swings, we have to, the point I always try to drive home to people is, you have to be able to maintain it, and that emotion you feel. When I was speaking in California, Los Angeles, at a protest, I said, whatever emotion you're feeling right now, you have to keep that. You have to hold on to it. And when the next election comes, and the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that, you have to be as fired up then as you are right now. You can't wait till after it's over to come back and go, oh, well, now I'm pissed off, and now I want to do something. I stayed home on election day, but I better get out there. No, you got to always remember how you felt in this moment and keep that with you as you go forward. And if we can do that, we'll swing it back our way. It'll happen, and we'll put their ideas in the dustbin of history where they belonged. They belonged there the first time an asshole said them, and we're going to keep them there.